Hello.
Mine's.
Hello.
It's 1:02, and I'm going to call the meeting to order. If you have a chance to look at the agenda, it's in front of you. Nothing really out of the ordinary on here. If you have anything you'd like to add to the agenda, please let me know. Call for the approval. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same signs. Deb has done a really nice job with our minutes. You have them in front of you. She's used a nice, large font. I'll give you a few minutes to look them over.
There's
Oh, I
a stack.
missed 'em.
Sorry, guys, there's a
Okay.
stack.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here, I'll just pass them down. They're collated, so you have to take 2 sheets.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you. All right.
Yeah, take two and you're good.
Anybody else?
Yeah. Does he already have? Do you have the minutes? Yeah. From last time? Okay.
No, Cheryl.
Judy, can you tell me who are excused or absent today?
Dennis Lardy is excused today. Cheryl Kellerman is excused today. I have not heard from Helen.
Okay.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes as written.
Is there a second? Do you have a question?
Is it somewhere on here that,
Did you turn your mic on?
I thought I did. Oh, there, is it on now?
Yeah.
I thought I volunteered to do the calendar, which I did. Is it on here?
I don't think it's, I don't know that it's on there. But I have a problem because I don't know anybody's names, so. I mean, I know Ben,
So
But
it's Ben, Jean, Nancy, Dana, and me.
you know, okay, but
Right.
I'm trying to learn everybody. and
So
I have-
if we
so I
don't, we're
won't
gonna, I'm
necessarily-
gonna have you report on that, Jean, so we can make sure it's in the minutes for this time, because we'll
Okay.
report on it.
Okay.
Is there a second on the minutes?
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, minutes accepted. Dennis isn't here. He had a heart procedure yesterday. He's at home resting right now. Old business, so, we're gonna talk about the senior center addition down here, so. I am not gonna report on anything on old business right now. PR and outreach, we've done an excellent job with outreach. The numbers are climbing. As you can see from the menu, numbers reported for September and October. I think today there were only 27 people there, the lowest number I've seen in a long time. But you can see in October, on the 25th, we had 100 people in the dining room with 39 to-goes. That can't be, that must be a total of 100 with 39 to-goes, yeah. On the 20th of October, 122 with 54 to goes. So the numbers at the senior center are continued to grow, and a lot of that has to do with all the outreach that we did this year to have people learn more about the senior center. Hi. I can't hear you.
Dennis won't be here.
Yes. We've talked about that already. Services and activities. Let's talk about activities. Nancy and Dana, you've been involved with activities a lot this month.
We. went
How's
to
Euchre
Browners.
going?
I'm sorry, Euchre? Euchre's
How is
going
Euchre
well.
going on Thursdays?
Going very well on Thursdays. We've got maybe 5 tables.
That's good, and it was on the back of the November menu as a sanctioned activity.
As it should be.
Right, no, but it wasn't in October, but it was. We
Right.
spoke about that, and it is now appearing both the Tuesday and the Thursday Euchre as an activity on the back of the menu. So that's good.
Yes.
And also, would you talk about Friday? What's happening Friday?
Friday. What's happening?
Bingo for money? Do
Bingo, pay to play bingo. Yes.
you want to talk a little bit about that?
There's not too much to say. I'm
But for
hoping
those
that-
of us who know nothing, there would be a lot to learn.
Well, we're going to start playing pay to play bingo. And it used to be a really big hit. Hoping that we get back a lot of our people that used to play. The free bingo is fun, it's good, and I don't think we should do away with that, but I do think we should incorporate, whether it's on a Tuesday or a Thursday or any other day. I think we should incorporate the pay to play.
Is this going to be a regular one Friday a month, the
I
pay to
have no
play?
idea what they have in mind.
Because it was on the back of the menu for November that they would pay to play today.
I thought
That's
it
I mean,
was once,
Friday.
Yes.
I thought it was once a month.
That's what I think they're talking, is once a month.
Right,
And I'd like to see that happen more frequently, but don't get rid of the free to play because people enjoy it.
right. And let's see how this one goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are quite a few people now who are coming back, have come back to bingo. What do we have there regularly on bingo? 30,
Oh,
35?
No, we don't have that many people there.
No?
No, what, maybe 12, 15? We don't have that many people.
Really? Playing
Really?
bingo?
Really, the free bingo.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's becoming a little more well-known now.
I don't
So
see it
there were more.
advertised anywhere. I mean, I don't see it on Facebook. I don't see it.
When does that happen? When does free bingo happen? Is there,
Every Friday.
so that's every Friday?
It's been every Friday up until this week, Friday, they're doing a pay-to-play. To
Right.
see how that goes, I guess.
We used to
So
pay
that there
to,
won't be a free one this Friday? Could
we
that be
used,
substitute?
we
Okay.
used to pay to play every Friday at 1 o'clock, bingo. And then after the pandemic, they stopped the pay to play. And
then
we
they had
just had a
excuses
pantry.
for not
We
starting
had a
it.
pantry bingo.
Then they had excuses for not starting it back up. There was some like
We had to go
legal,
We had to go to the
concerns.
board
yeah,
of trustees.
Yeah, they thought it was gambling.
right.
And
Judy,
Dana,
Judy, on the bingo, I haven't heard very many positive comments because from what I understand, the value of the pantry bingo winning is more than what they may win in money. So I think you'll have to do it and see how many people come and then how many people come back, how many people like it.
Yes, it
Right.
needs to be more than one time.
right, we need to see if we can't, but you were saying at lunch, a bag of Oreo cookies is probably $4.69 at the store, and if they win that on a bingo during pantry bingo, that could be more than the 75 cents they win on a bingo on a regular card.
Pay to play, right.
Right, pay to play.
Although we'll win more than 75 cents.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea, but,
Maybe not on a second prize.
That's true. Maybe not on second
And
prize.
it goes by how many people, how much money they take in as to the prizes, so.
Yeah,
and
but
who's
it could
gonna-
be less.
who's gonna manage that?
Well, right now, Jenna and I think Linda.
Because Linda has a lot of experience with pay to play, doesn't she? Or some
Yes.
experience with pay to
Yes.
play,
I'm sure she has some, yes.
yeah.
It'll be a good thing, I think, if we can continue it. And for the township, for the amount of money they put out every week to do the free bingo, how much are they putting out if they're doing prizes at $4 a piece? I know, shut up, Nancy,
Shut up,
right?
Nancy. Yeah, no.
They're not all that much, they're not all that amount of money.
No, but there's a lot of them that are. And I like it. Don't get me wrong, I like it.
Well, any amount is gonna be a cost, correct? I mean, if it costs 50 cents, that's outlay without income, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
When it's pantry bingo.
Right.
When it's pay to play, you come in, you get 6 cards, each card is 25 cents. So there's, yeah,
No cost to the township that way.
Right, that's all I'm saying, is that.
Right.
Free
And at the
bingo
end of the
will
day-
always be a cost regardless of the value of the,
and at the end of
The
the day,
wins.
all that bingo pay to play money is given back out to the players.
Yes, it is.
So, Dana, you had an activity this month.
Yes, we
Last-
went to
Bronner's.
Bronner's and we went to Tony's for breakfast and then Bronner's. There was 6 of us. So,
That was not listed on the calendar of activities for the senior center.
no, but I have told them 2 or 3 times over there when I was there and there was a sign up that no one signed up.
There was
on the
actually
bullet-
8 of us.
Oh,
2 that did not ride with us,
Oh, I'm
but,
sorry. Yep, she's right.
so there was 8 of us.
It was on the bulletin board that
Right,
we have.
right. So that's what I want to talk about next. Jean has put a calendar bulletin board up in the senior center. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Jean?
I put that up, and there are 2 months on there right now, November and December. And then after November, I'll move December over and add January. And so there will always be 2 months on there. And
good idea.
I did the labels on my computer, so it's real easy to stick them on, for cards and bingo and
So
euchre
I'm not
and-
sure what this is exactly.
It's a bulletin, it's a calendar, 2-month calendar
It's
on
on
the
the-
bulletin
it's on
board.
the left as
Right
you
when you
walk
walk in the senior center.
I get that. But what good is it? What's it doing for me?
Because people can look
See what's gonna
at a
happen.
glance that we're gonna play cards every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday. Hearing checks are this date. Euchre is this date.
A speaker is gonna be showing up on a certain day.
Rather than
I
the
mean,
back of a calendar, menu that you don't have, it's at home. And it's nowhere else posted in the senior center, the activities.
Can we maybe put that on the internet? Can we put that on the township, whatever?
Well, the
Oh,
back of the calendar, the back of the menu is on the internet. It is on the internet.
The problem we've been having is that activities that we have promoted and suggested and have organized are not in favor and do not show up on the back on the internet. And we are still dealing with a lot of people that are paper people. They're not internet people. My dad doesn't have a computer,
And
you
I don't
know.
always
He
look
doesn't have a
at mine, but-
smartphone, so, and I know there are others, so.
We
you know.
also took a trip down to the theater in Chelsea.
Oh, that's right, the group from Hand and Foot, a group of people
CL
who play Hand and Foot.
CL organized it.
Went to where, I'm sorry?
Chelsea,
Purple Rose.
to the Purple Rose Theater
I love that.
for a performance. There were quite a few people who went, weren't there?
Yes, I didn't
18?
go, but yeah, there were quite a few.
And
Yeah.
I didn't even know about it. Did you know about it?
I think I did hear something about it.
Okay.
but
I
it
don't
wasn't
remember
as-
hearing about it, about,
I heard about it, but the players, they organized it themselves, CL.
He
bought
did
or
make announcements.
re-
during lunch.
Reserve the tickets, and I sat with him one day at lunch and asked him about that, because I know he lives in Langsberg, and he used to be deeply involved with the Langsberg seniors, and he would organize a trip once a month for them, and he would always take a school bus. And he would invite our seniors to go with them, and I asked him how he got the school bus. And he said it's in the state charter that if you are a senior citizen center, that if you want to use a school bus, you can use a school bus, you just have to go to the school board and clear it with the school board.
and have a chauffeur approved
Yeah, your
driver's
driver,
license.
yeah. So next year, maybe that's something we might want to look at.
We always had one of the school bus drivers from Langsberg that took us
Right,
on our trips.
Right.
We just,
But there are a lot of seniors who would really like to take more trips. Dana, you have something organized for December,
Well, I kind of gave up on it because, it's hard to get people to commit to anything, and then when you raise hands, and then, like the Bronner's trip, I don't know, I have not done that. We can still do it,
There's a play at the Riverwalk Theater about Christmas.
Christmas Bells is the name, and, I can do it, I can go ahead and do it and plan it on the 17th of December. I can't do the 10th if you think that it will do good. But the amount of work sometimes that it takes to do that isn't worth the effort sometimes when no one comes. That's all.
I imagine that the 8 people who went to Bronner's with you had a very enjoyable time.
Yes, we did. So, okay, I'll work on that.
and I think that's all good, and I think, but is it our place to be doing all this? Shouldn't it be the place of a coordinator, maybe?
Right.
The center?
Well, at Marie's encouragement, we all left a meeting about 2 months ago and scurried out to try to get some activities in the center for Tuesdays and Thursdays and Wednesday afternoons.
Correct.
And I went to the library. First, I went and asked if there was interest at every table in having a gadget workshop, learning how to do just what you're talking about. And not only smartphones, but tablets and streaming on TV. I think if we all knew how to stream our cable, we wouldn't have such high cable bills. But I don't know how to stream. And so there was a lot of interest. I went and talked individually to each table. And then I went to the library. I know that one day a week they do have an open session where you can take your phone in and somebody will look at it with you. So I went and talked to the adult ed people over there. They were very excited. They've not done workshops outside the library, but they were really enthusiastic about coming to the senior center and doing that workshop. And so then I went to get Jenna and the librarian who's in charge of adult education together, and Jenna must have emailed Karen, and Karen said, that's none of our business, that programs and services and activities are none of our business and to stay out of it.
What is our business here?
Right.
Well, that's
I invited Karen to come to the meeting today to tell us what she has planned for next year, so we can know what our role is and to
Yeah.
discuss our role with us. I've invited her 3 times since the last meeting. She's not responded to me about coming. The last time I said, well, Karen, if you can't come, perhaps Taylor could come. She still has not responded, so I don't know how to answer that question.
Do we have anything in writing telling us what our responsibilities are?
Well, we have a mission statement, but it's more a mission statement for the senior center than it is for us. So in looking through all of the materials that I've gathered over the years, I've never found one. Now, Marie is here as a guest this afternoon, and I know that in the past, she's been responsible for making committee appointments. And I imagine in the notebook that she uses to make committee appointments, I would imagine, that there is a charge for each of the committees that she was responsible for staffing. So perhaps we could ask Marie, is there a mission statement, a purpose for the in writing for the Senior Services Advisory Board in all the work that you have looked through?
When I came in 2020, there was 0 files, nothing. So I have never seen a mission statement. The only description I have is what an advisory committee does and what a statutory committee does. And that I was responsible for appointing to those committees. So what you're asking is something I don't have, I never have had. Me
What-
personally,
well, didn't you-
I've always agreed that you should be doing exactly what you do, although your coordinator should be here, to work with. Your purpose is to advise the board as to what you're doing, which you do an excellent job of that, every nice meeting that you have. that you come to, or we have as board trustees, you're always there, and you should be. It's constantly reminding. Now, whether or not they do anything with it, that's another story. But you do your part by advising, and that's what an advisory committee does. As for setting up your group to do your committees or your organizations, your coordinator should be working with you, and so should the township. But that we will see with your new supervisor, Ryan Fiebler-Bliss, as to, yeah, exactly, what it is that, you need to do. What he has stated is that he wants to be the most boring supervisor there is, and that's not difficult to do because he won't be doing anything.
Do you have anything, or do we ask him for a list of our responsibilities?
I don't think that's an unusual question.
Unreasonable, yeah, I don't think it's unreasonable.
The point of an advisory is to advise the board trustee as to exactly what you're supposed to do. That again is something that I personally think you're doing exactly what you should be doing, but the coordinator and Carrie should be here as staff to know and understand what it is that you're looking to do. I guess what you're asking, Judy, not Judy, I'm getting it, finally. That is so funny, she looks just like a Judy. But anyway, with that, I don't think there's an issue that should be asked as to what your board does, besides advise to the board of trustees. But the question is, what do you advise to them?
Right.
I mean, that's, absolutely, I don't think that's a difficult question.
It shouldn't be considered unreasonable.
No, it should not be. It should not be.
So I think that what Maria is suggesting is that, one, we are serving our purpose in advising the Township Board of Trustees about the senior center and services that are needed in the community, and that beyond that, if they want more from, and I do attend every Township Board meeting, and I speak at 90% of them. I will be absent at the next one, but life happens. But then what she's suggesting is that perhaps we should invite Ryan to come to one of our meetings and speak to him about what he anticipates or expects of us for the next year.
That would
I
be
think that'd
awesome.
be a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, at least until, what is it, November of '24?
Right, next year, right. Well, I will
Circle
send,
that on your calendar.
I will send him an email.
Well, I think that, for me, the elephant in the room is when does this advisory board, when are we nothing more than lip service to tell the community that they care and nothing else? Because we all have better things to do than just work, and have absolutely no respect, no professional respect to have our questions responded to have anyone in attendance that we're supposed to be collaborating with in this township, to have any ideas poo-pooed or dismissed as not your business. Well, then what is our purpose other than lip service to the community? And I think we deserve better than that. I think our community deserves better than that. And that's,
I know our senior center, the seniors, many of them believe that that expansion is still going to happen. And somebody better come and enlighten them. And I think it should be Karen to
no, I
come
think it
and,
should be
to-
Ryan.
or Ryan, to come and speak to the senior center and let them know what's what.
And also, I think that all of our trustees at some time should come to the senior center and see what's happening. See what our meals are about and what our people are about that attend. And what they would like, maybe take some, question and answer sessions.
I could make cupcakes. I mean, whatever it takes to get them there.
No, I've invited them whenever,
Very good couple.
I've invited them often. We had, at their request, a community conversation. They are a big part of the community, and not one of them, besides Marie and Cheryl, showed up. And I asked each of them to provide us with names of people to invite to the community conversation. I asked Brenda to invite all the election officials, because they're all at the age bracket that they could enjoy and need and use the services of the senior center. No one gave me even a name, except the day before the conversation, Ryan gave me the name of the president of his homeowners association, the day before the conversation. Brenda didn't give me any names of any of the election officials. I said, well, if you don't want to give them to me, I'll send you the invitation, you send it out to them. She said, no, she wasn't interested. And they asked us to have the conversation and wouldn't give us a name of who to invite, and wouldn't attend, didn't
We have
attend.
no recourse.
Beg your
That's
pardon?
what you're saying. We have no recourse.
Recourse? Well, sure, we could quit.
Yeah.
That's the recourse.
And what's gonna happen then?
Right.
Nothing.
Well, it's a perfect impossibility, because if we quit, then
They win.
yeah, then you've got, well, are they gonna just staff a bunch of yes people, on the committee and say everything is great and fine and?
Karen would disband, Karen would vote to dissolve the Senior Services Advisory Board because she sees no purpose for it.
Well, she's created that reality.
Right. I mean, when Dan
She's not
Watichka was here and he had her position, he never missed a meeting.
Oh, my goodness.
He helped us work on policies and procedures that were effective in the senior center. When he wanted to talk about the salaries for the staff, he sat with us and worked with us and wrote the job descriptions, and we determined together the number of hours that the staff should work and what their assignments should be. But we had total and complete cooperation from him. And we had an excellent relationship with him. But after he left, Karen hasn't had any relationship, has chosen not to have a relationship with us.
And what is her position again? I'm sorry, she's an office man?
She's the superintendent for the township.
Okay.
We pay her $105,000.
For what?
I don't know.
To tell us to mind our business. I need clarification on a note. You said that no one gave you names for people to invite to the community conversation that you organized. But what groups of people did you ask? You asked the board? And you asked who
The
else?
Board of Trustees asked us to engage the community in a conversation about the senior center.
So they asked you to do that, you did it, and then you said, give me some ideas of who to invite. Did you ask any other groups, or was it the Board of Trustees? Just.
Oh, well, we reached out to a lot of people.
But I mean, when you said no one responded, that was the board?
The board did not
Ryan the
res-
day before?
The board did not respond except for Ryan the day before.
Thank you.
Marie gave me, I think, a name or two. Your neighbors, perhaps. I can't remember. But anyways,
I think that our officials ought to be interested in what's going on in the township. They ought to be interested in promoting and helping the people. Isn't that the idea?
Especially with an aging population.
Yeah.
yeah, 25.
And no one
over-
wants to participate and come and be part of it and find out what's going on? I'm disappointed, big time.
In all of them.
Yes. I mean, I know that one person used to come, Al, but he's working, so
And he didn't even support us in the, in the addition.
that's disappointing.
I thought he
I don't
was
know why.
one that did.
He did, I'm going to speak to that in a minute, so, I just want to talk about the addition,
Well, I just,
finish, yes,
now when we're talking about
Mike?
our responsibility, this is one of the things why I kind of backed off the play. I mean, they can't get any answers about it from Jenna, and I'm so busy right now, I'm not going that often. So do I continue?
I would say no. Not for the December.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the work that we do in that arena is not appreciated by the township at all.
Not the township, but the people that want to go do. So,
Right.
do you want to go?
Yeah, I want to go.
And Jean, you want to go, Ben, Deb, anybody?
What is it to, now again, the silver?
It's Christmas Bells. It's a
Christmas Bells.
comedy at the Riverwalk Theater.
It's a
December-
play.
It's a play.
Oh.
Sunday, December 17th. So I'll just make plans. If we want to go, we'll go.
Sure would be nice to have others go with us.
What,
Will you put a
in the
sign-up
evening?
sheet on the
It's
calendar?
an evening
want me
Sunday thing?
It's a Sunday, right?
It's a Sunday, December 17th.
But
Afternoon?
evening?
No, it's a matinee, 2:00.
Okay, I can just make it then. After church, yeah.
Yeah, right after church.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
But you know what? I get to the feeling, well, let's just take the ones here that want to go and don't worry about anybody else.
Oh, no, open it up. Open it up.
Yep.
I'm
Put
being
it on our
sarcastic.
calendar
We can carpool, and we'll put it on the calendar and put
with a
sign-up
contact
Yeah, we're, and put
info,
a
like a phone number and a,
sign-up sheet.
Okay.
Give a deadline so we know how many are coming, we know how many cars, that kind of stuff.
All right.
People do look at that.
I'll do it. I won't get my butt chewed for doing it, though.
Senior Center addition is the next thing on the agenda. I'm very disappointed. I actually haven't been back to the senior center since then because a lot of seniors did work with us to get the township to approve funding for the addition in the budget. There were a couple of opportunities for us to bring the issue in front of the trustees. Again, Deb, just for your background information, in November last year, we went to the township trustees and asked them for $5,000 to hire an architect
yep.
so that we could bring forth the cost and ask them what questions they had, so that we could be a part of the CIP process, which is Capital Improvements Program process, which starts in June. And it goes through the planning board, and if you want to make a capital improvement in the township, and you're an organized committee or advisory board, you can put a proposal in front of the planning board. So in November, we asked for $5,000 for an architect so that we could put a proposal before the planning board in June. Karen signed the contract with the architect on June the 6th. It took her that long. And so we lost our opportunity to go for that money through the planning board, the recommendation from the planning board. And so we had two other opportunities, one through the general fund budget when they established their budget for next year, and then we had $1.6 million that came to the township from the American Rescue Plan Act. So we had those two pots of money that we could have gone after. And they decided at the last board meeting, at the budget meeting 2 weeks ago, not to include the addition as a part of the funding under the American Rescue Plan Act. Instead, they chose to give severance pay, give
Hazard pay.
hazard pay to the police and fire department, and buy protective shields for the fire department, for the police department, to put in their cars riot gear, riot shields. They all have them in their car, they will have them in their cars now. And to put in a keyless entry in every township building. The keyless entry was $285,000. The hazard pay was almost $300,000. And then they paved a private road as well with that money. So we didn't get, the senior center addition didn't get any of the money out of the general fund or out of the American Rescue Plan Act money.
Where's this private road? I'm curious.
Well, I'll go to that in a minute. Anyway, so I was really disappointed because we'd worked for them and with them on this for a year. They never came to us and asked us any questions. They never told us what detailed information that we could provide for them. We did a presentation with the architect, with the engineer. We got quotes from local professionals in the field for what it would cost to build the building, which were 2 weeks old when they looked at it. And they never asked any questions even during the presentation by the architects. And, I mean, these are professional people that I brought before them. This was no walk in the park. When I looked at the projected cost, and we included a basement in the addition, so the cost was $500,000 with the basement. When I looked at the quote that was gotten a year before that, when they asked for a quote, it was $350,000 and it didn't include a basement. So the cost was not that much higher in 2023 than it was in 2022. And they still didn't even discuss it. And it was disrespectful of us. And it actually just made me feel like the time that we had spent for the last year walking the walk was a complete and total waste of time. And that meeting was on a Monday, and then we went to the senior center, of course, had lunch again the next, on Wednesday, and I couldn't even go. I mean, I couldn't even go. I was so disappointed. I mean, and I've invited the trustees to come to the senior center quite often, and they don't even have enough respect for us to come. I've taken pictures and showed them how overcrowded it is. Well, at the end of the Board of Trustees meeting, when they had adopted the budget and they had adopted the budget for the American Rescue Plan Act, and there's a closing comment at the period at the end of each board meeting. And 4 trustees, Cheryl, Jack Phillips was appointed to fill Joe Benzie's place. And I had spent an hour on the phone with Jack before the meeting to try to get him to understand where we were coming from and where we were and what we had done and what we needed. So Cheryl, Jack, Ryan, and Al, in their comments at the end of the meeting, said to me, not to be concerned, that they knew that there were still issues that needed to be resolved as far as an addition to the senior center. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Right.
But
I mean, at the end of the meeting,
now's when we have the money.
right. At the end of the meeting, I went up to the podium and I expressed my complete dissatisfaction and disappointment with them for the seniors. But that's where that's at. I mean, they have got to have an addition on the building because the kitchen isn't big enough. They need a walk-in freezer. They need a walk-in fridge. They are going to have to put an addition on that building in order to expand the kitchen because of these numbers that we're seeing every day. I will say that in the 2024 budget, there is funding for staff so that the senior center will be open 5 days. Now, I've invited Karen to come to the meeting today so that she can tell us what her plan is for 2024 being open 5 days. What staff is going to be there? What activities are, what is the intent for Tuesday and Thursday? Will we have meals 4 or 5 days a week? She has not come, she has not responded, she is not here. So I don't know, I think it's important that she answer those questions. Jenna is gonna have a baby in February. What is gonna happen? How is the center gonna be run if Jenna is off on maternity leave? And how long will she be off for? Those are all questions that we deserve to know the answers to, and I don't know how to get them. I feel like I failed. I worked really hard at it, and I do feel like I failed, but
You are not the failure here.
No,
It was
not
the
at all.
board that
You're not the
failed us.
failure when you're set up to fail.
right. We did our best.
Yes, and it wasn't, you are not a failure.
But
I said I
think
feel like
it's-
we failed.
I think it's time someone talked at the senior center to tell the rest of the people what's happening and what's not happening.
Right. Today, there were only, 27 people there. It's the lowest I've seen the dining room in a long time. And, and maybe it's a menu choice, and maybe they all went out hunting, I don't know. But I didn't think today was the day to stand up there and talk about it. I think it has to be talked about when there are a lot of people there. And I'm sorry, but I won't be here for the Thanksgiving meal, or I would do it then, but,
Well, we've got a meatloaf coming
Huh?
up. We have meatloaf coming up.
when is it?
I don't know.
Yeah, but
Let me look.
one of those meatloaf days, I think we should talk about it. And I think it's important, Jean, it's not just talk about it and what happened, but talk about how these people are not serving them.
Center menu.
The trustees are not serving the seniors. And they need to know that they're being underrepresented. I think that that's really important. And, if I were the township superintendent and I approved or agreed that the police and fire should get all this hazard pay, well, the first thing I would do is I'd say, well, let's start going over there and introducing yourself to the seniors. When you call 911, wouldn't it be nice to know who that is, who came to your door? Oh my gosh, that's Gary Smith. I met him at the senior center. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad I've met you. I think that they owe that to the seniors out of respect. They stole the money from the senior center for their hazard pay, and never mind.
They deserve it.
Who?
The police, they need equipment, protective equipment.
Just
I'm
don't
all
have
about
hazard
getting
pay.
them what they want.
Riot gear? How many riots do they go to?
I don't have any idea. They
Um,
probably don't, but
right.
they're
We're
prepared.
not talking about protective equipment here, Nancy.
Talking about the hazard
We're
pay.
talking about bonuses.
The
Hazard-
hazard pay just seemed, I'm not opposed to the hazard pay concept because truly in a time, especially when COVID was more life-threatening than the current strains have been, they were required to put hands on people and be, potentially spit on, all the exchanging bodily fluids in a very dangerous time. But does the dollar amount, especially after the fact, when the risk is over, it's a smaller amount would have still said we appreciate the risks you took without it being so much. That's a lot of, that was like the max, if it was 300. That was the max they could give, and they didn't have to, there was no obligation to give that amount. It could have been a smaller amount and still would have been appreciated, as was actually acknowledged by the presenter when they presented the request for the hazard pay.
Right.
He said this would be like the max, but it also could be this amount. So he was very much acknowledging that less would be still appreciated, and so it's kind of went out of their way to
I agree
max it
that,
out.
I agree that we should talk to the seniors at the senior center and encourage them to voice their opinion at the ballot box.
27th, Judy,
27th of,
November.
I'll be back by then.
That's Meatloaf Day.
All right, so collaborations, again, I worked really hard to get a collaboration with the library and was shot down by Karen and told it was none of our business and to stay out of it. And if you read our strategic plan, it speaks clearly to setting up collaborations and partnerships with people to come into the senior center and to assist the seniors with programs and services. So again, I don't really know what we can do about that without the support of the township. And Jenna should be at every single one of our meetings, so that if she doesn't want us to do it, then Jenna can talk with us and find out who we know, and we can provide and serve as a resource for her. But Karen will prohibits Jenna from attending our meetings. So I will say, under BOT update, that Ryan Finwins Bliss was appointed by the Board of Trustees to be the supervisor. Marie resigned, and at that meeting, the next meeting, November 5th, 7th maybe it was, the board appointed Ryan to replace Marie. And now that means Ryan's position as a trustee is open, and they're taking applications, I think, until next week. So if anybody's interested in being a trustee, you can fill out an application. Now, what happened with the Joe Benzie position, they had 5 applications. Jack Phillips was one of them. Every one of the applicants was requested to turn in a current resume and then come prepared to speak to the board for 5 minutes about why they wanted to be a trustee. Jack did not come. He did fill out an application, but he wasn't present at the meeting, and they appointed him anyways. Very disrespectful to all of the people that did show up. Jack Phillips is replacing Joe Benzie, and now we will find a replacement for Ryan, because Ryan will now be the supervisor.
Until November.
Until November of 2024, yes. Are there any public comments? Marie?
The only comment the only comment that I have, Nancy, I wanted to answer your response to the PD should have all of this equipment. The list that they provided was a wonderful strategic plan list, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. But in its time, ARPA was given to us, 1.3 million is what this township obtained from those funds, are supposed to be spent as a one-time type of program that the township went without during COVID, okay? The hazard pay is something, and I'll tell you, because I can go from personal experience as to what I did. I did support the hazard pay at a 10%, not a 13%. So what was listed, and when the PD had all of the, we just gave them radios, they wanted everything else to come with them. I agree with them. That was part of my background, so I understand what they're saying. But those are strategic plan projects. That means that every year, or for the next 5 years, if we have a strategic plan, these are the dollars that we're gonna spend. I agree with that. The ARPA funds are a whole different one deal shot. That's it, that's all you got. And that's why, for me, the important thing was not only to give the hazard pay, because I did agree with what they were saying. I remember going out and doing that. There was no COVID at the time to do it. So they did put their lives, their families' lives on the line, because they had to go home to the wife and to the kids, or even if they went home, they went to their parents or wherever they went. But they interacted with other people, so I understood that. But the senior center, I think the seniors hurt as much as what our Kids for Education, if not more, hurt during that time because they were shut in. Kids have computers, they have televisions, they have, all kinds of stuff that they can be entertained with, the parents entertaining them, which was really tough, no question. But our seniors did an awful lot during that time and suffered a lot through the COVID. The addition, to me, was not that big a deal. It should have been. Those two issues, to me, were the most important, not the laundry list that they came up with, because those are things that the strategic plan, which we do not have, and they have no intention of creating one, is something that should be looked at. And all the other activities that they wanted, the shields and et cetera, like I say, we gave them the radios, so they ended up having a lot. Paved roads, that's something you can deal with. It's not something that you can do overnight, but you can deal with it. The addition for the senior center was something I think was desperately needed for expanding where our seniors are at. And I think you're absolutely correct when it states that our population is aging. But understand those dollars were a one-time deal. That's it. So you'll have no more. Now, if they decide that senior center should be a strategic plan, that means for whatever this plan is in the next 5 years, you put X amount of dollars in it. We're gonna be running into a huge crisis before this is over. It's called retirement, because we don't fund it. And right now, there's this big explanation about 25% for our employees that have to pay dollars from their pay in order to support their benefits. Well, part of their benefits, retirement. So if you had an unfunded, which has been talked about, I've talked about it, others have talked about it, but it's not, in fact, Steve Wiswasser was one who said to me, he didn't know what an unfunded mandate was. You know, exactly, I'm kind of looking at him going, really? I'm certainly not a treasurer by any stretch, but I know what an unfunded mandate is, and that's what we have in this township. But anyway, going back to your discussion and what you had said about the PD needing them, you're correct, they do, but they don't need it yesterday. And that's something that, you know, as a strategic plan for this township, to be involved is something we can do. But when it comes to the addition and what our seniors put up with for the years that we were in COVID, et cetera, I don't think it was too much for a one-shot deal to be able to take care of it. Because again, we were given 1.3 million total. That's a lot of chump change, guys, especially when other townships, common laws, were like 300 and some odd thousand. And they put all their money into broadband. They didn't even put it into the county for the sheriff's department or for PDs at other areas. They put their wad, they shot their whole wad into broadband, and that's what a number of them did. For us, the 1.3 million is huge. Many of the other townships couldn't believe what we got. But that's what we did get. And so as a one-shot deal, to me, it made sense for the hazard pay as a one-shot deal. It made sense for the addition as a one-shot deal to be able to give back to our community for what they had suffered through during the COVID. Into my soapbox.
The Tri-County Office on Aging put all of their money from all their 3 counties right into their kitchen. They had to have an addition because they're so busy.
Well,
So, I mean, it does make sense.
it does make sense.
It does make
It's
sense.
a one-shot deal.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Marie. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here today. Our next meeting is scheduled for December 20th. I will be out of town. I'm going to Maryland. We could have it, we could cancel it, or we could put it on the 13th. Do it a week early.
Let's do it on the 13th.
Do it on the 13th. I'll tell Taylor. Any other business to come before the board? Move we adjourn. Second?
I second it.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Good job as always.
Okay.
Any news on the treasurer's report?
No, because Dennis isn't here. He and Karen have been working on that, supposedly.
Because we haven't had one for a while.
That's true, not since I've been here.
God, have I missed that much? Thought I'd only missed one meeting.
This is my 3rd.
Is it really? Judy, have I missed more than one